Here's Navarro on the run. Navarro's going to keep it. Navarro for 6. Touchdown, Bobcat.
I feel I had a hard time staying in my own lane.
Oh my goodness. Red Murdoch. Pick 6.
Harvath inside the 30 to 20. Blake Harvath will score.
And Mendoza takes a big hit. He never saw it coming. Trey White got in there.
There's his man, Rucker. And nobody's going to catch him. Goodbye.
Intercepted.
Tyree Skipper. Touchdown.
Telly again, why not? A step forward and make it 2 for Telly.
Quarterback keeper. Showing off the speed. Steps on the gas. Untouched.
The G5 Hive. All G5 all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive, where we bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke. I am joined by my co-host, Justice. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. It helps with the algorithm. Something I do not understand, but the algorithms seem to got it figured out. To our Mountain West Conference, Week 14 in review. Friday games, Air Force at Colorado State. Time of possession was the story of this one, as Air Force would hold the ball for 40 minutes and 47 seconds of the 60 minutes, which obviously limits the Rams' opportunities. Air Force would lead this game wire to wire on the back of their rushing attack, as the Falcons would run the ball 61 times for 316 yards and 4 touchdowns. Owen Allen had 25 of those 61 attempts for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Air Force wins this one 42-21. I do want to call out Lloyd Avant, as he had 3 rushes for 11 yards and 1 touchdown for Colorado State. But what was impressive was what he did in the air. He had 8 catches for 135 yards. Owen Long also finished Friday. I didn't look to see what at the end of Saturday it looked like, but at the end of Friday, he had 17 tackles and 1 sack to finish the year with 134 total tackles, which at the time put them in the lead of most tackles in the nation. Owen Long had a phenomenal season there at linebacker for the Rams. San Diego State versus New Mexico. This one was electric. It was a back and forth all game, and we saw one hell of a game Friday night. It was 17-17 after 4 quarters. Even 1 overtime wasn't enough. In overtime, San Diego State would get the ball first. They're going to throw an interception. New Mexico, they're going to pull out the victory. However, they would fumble the ball on a second and goal play from the 4-yard line. We're going to head to a second overtime. New Mexico wasted no time, as Jack Lane would find Cade Keith for a 25-yard touchdown. And remember, in the second overtime, you have to go for 2. New Mexico calls a great play, but it just took so long to execute. They were called for holding, as Lane found Keegan Johnson in the end zone. They would have to retry this time from the 11. No good. San Diego State now down 6 on 3rd and 10. Denegal would rush for 15 yards, probably one of his most explosive plays of the night. But what a killer. What do you know? What's a big killer? Penalties. On 1st and goal from the New Mexico 10, San Diego State would commit 3 false starts. Some of them, 2 of them might have been a little ticky-tack, but, I mean, the rules are the rules. It's now 1st and 20 from the New Mexico 20. After a Christian Washington 6-yard run, the Lobos defense would get back-to-back sacks. It's now 4th and 30 from the New Mexico 30, and Jaden's pass is incomplete. The Lobos win, and they're going to need some help from Utah State to make their first ever trip to the Mountain West Championship game. Let's get to it. Boise State at Utah State. After 3 quarters, Utah State has a 24-19 lead. The fourth quarter was about missed opportunities, in my opinion. To start the fourth, it was 4th and 2 on the Boise State 12 for Utah State, and they go for it. I don't know. You're up 24-19. You go for it? Okay, I get it. All right. Bryson Barnes gets stopped for a 2-yard loss. Boise takes over. That field goal would have put them up 8. They didn't do it. Whatever. Boise State now flips the field, but they would need a punt after an 11-yard rush from Javen Jacobs. Utah State would not be able to get another first down. They have to punt it back. Then Boise is at the Utah State 32, and Sire Gaines fumbles the ball back to Utah State. And Utah State turns the ball over, and Boise finally makes them pay as they travel 41 yards to cap it off with a Dylan Riley 6-yard touchdown run, but the Broncos would not get the 2-point conversion, so they're only up 25-24. The teams would trade possessions. Utah State now has the ball with 1:24 left. Barnes runs it from the right hash all the way to the left. It just ate up clock, though. Utah State gets called for a hold, which brought the Aggies back to their own 19 with 19 seconds left. And then Bryson Barnes finds Braden Pagan for 20 yards. Then Anthony Garcia for 32 to put them in field goal range. And Bronco, he's like 1 second. However, I don't know what game he was watching because Bryson Barnes still had the ball in his hands when time expires. He throws it. Time runs out. Boise State holds on to win this one 25-24. Moving on to Saturday games, UNLV, Nevada. It was all UNLV in this one as they're up 28-3 at the half following a UNLV sack fumble with about a minute to go in the third. UNLV would take their time as they marched on the field for 56 yards in 4 minutes and 52 seconds. And we saw Jaden Thomas run it in from 1 yard out to put UNLV up 42-10 with about 11 minutes to go in the game. The Rebels would win 42-17, and Jaden Thomas was key in UNLV's successes. He had 103 yards, 4 touchdowns on 11 carries. About half of his carries were touchdowns. Just amazing. UNLV clinches a share of the Mountain West Conference regular season title with Boise State, New Mexico, and San Diego State. So this win marks the 4th time UNLV has won double-digit games in a season, and it's the first time in program history UNLV has had back-to-back 10-plus win seasons. Now we've got 2 more games to get to before we get to the fun of the championship game. Fresno State at San Jose State. This one was ugly. San Jose State's only points in the first half were from an E.J. Warner interception that Justice's Defensive Player of the Week, Jordan Pollard, took 58 yards to the house, but it was Fresno on top heading into the locker room 21-7. In the third quarter was ugly as San Jose State would throw an interception, have a turnover on downs, punt, while Fresno punted twice, scored 3 points on an Xavier Ward interception. In the fourth, we saw Xavier Ward throw 2 more interceptions for San Jose State. Fresno State would fumble, however, they would score 17 points and win by a final score of 41-14. And then in the finale, Wyoming at Hawaii in the fourth quarter, Mike Alejandro would throw 2 touchdowns. However, one goes to the Cowboys. So that one really doesn't count. But in the second quarter, it was a field positioning game with the exception of a 78-yard touchdown pass from Alejandro to Jackson Harris, who's had a monster end to the season. Hawaii would be up 20-7 at the half. Hawaii would score on the opening drive of the second half to make it 27-7. And those would be the only points scored by either team in the second half. Hawaii wins this one 27-7. Now, bowl eligibility in the Mountain West, no new teams are added, so there are 7 total teams in the Mountain West. You've got Boise, you've got New Mexico, Hawaii, UNLV, Fresno State, San Diego State. And you've got those 4, and Utah State, if I didn't mention them. You've got Boise, New Mexico, UNLV, San Diego State. We're all tied. Who goes to the conference championship game? The computers. We got to go to the computers. We got to go to the computers on Sunday. I can't remember if it was like 9 a.m. Central, 10 It was fairly early on Sunday, but like I said, Boise State, New Mexico State, San Diego State, UNLV all finished 6-2 records in conference play, and because all four teams did not meet this season, the tie was broken by a composite average of a nationally recognized metrics, the Conley SP Plus, ESPN SOR, KPI, and Sport Source rankings. UNLV led the foursome with a composite average of 45.5, followed by Boise State at 47.75. With the two participants determined, the tiebreaker reverted to a head-to-head to determine who would host, and with the Broncos earning the right to host the championship due to their 56-31 win over the Rebels back in October. That was October 18th. We're going to have UNLV at Boise State. San Diego State finished third in the group with a composite average of 51, and New Mexico finished fourth with 54.75. Honestly, those two scores weren't close to the other ones, even though I think, honestly, both of them deserve it.
Yes.
So, me personally, I think San Diego State is probably one of the better teams in the Mountain West. But the game is what the game is. Like, New Mexico beat you. I think it should be UNLV versus New Mexico, personally. But here we are. UNLV will be appearing in its third Mountain West Championship contest, and it's seeking its first title. Boise State will be playing in the championship game for the fourth straight season and seeking its third straight title. This marks the third consecutive seasons the Broncos and Rebels will meet for that Mountain West title. What are the numbers?
Man, like I'm with you. I just feel so bad for New Mexico, man. I really feel like they should have been in that championship game. All right, Boise State is favored by 3.5, over under of 58.5. It does look like right now weather could be a factor in the game. 48 degrees, and it looks like there is some rain in the forecast, so that could have an impact there. The game is in Boise on the Smurf turf. All right, let's look when Boise has the ball on offense. All right, the Boise State rushing offense is ranked 30th in the nation, 189.8 yards per game. Passing offense is 57th, 240.6 yards per game. Scoring offense, they're ranked 42nd, 30.8 yards per game. The UNLV defense, not their strong suit. The thing they do best is sack the quarterback. They're ranked 37th in sacks per game, 2.33 sacks per game. Rushing defense, they're 103rd. Passing defense, they're 112th. Scoring defense, 89th. So they're going to want to get after quarterback Max Cutforth. That's the thing they do. They do the best. That's gonna be the key. I think the key to victory for UNLV is getting pressure on Max Cutforth. And but to do that, they're gonna have to stop this Boise State running game, which is a pretty tall order for this defense. I have no doubt that Boise State's going to want to run the ball with Sire Gaines and Dylan Riley and Malik Sherrod. When they are throwing the ball, you got Bates, Caples, you got Chris Marshall, Matt Lauder. But I think, given that the strength of the UNLV defense is the pass rush and sacking the quarterback, and the strength of the offense for Boise State's run the ball, and their plethora of running backs, that's what you're going to see, right? They're going to try to feed those running backs, lean on them as much as possible, and limit the times Max Cutforth has to drop back and pass the ball. Man, I think it should be a good game. Two really good offenses, but man, I just don't know. I don't know if UNLV is going to have much success stopping the run. If you look at the UNLV defense, their playmakers are Chief Borders there on the edge, Marcel McDuffie at linebacker, and Jake Pope there at free safety. Those are the big playmakers for UNLV on the defensive side of the ball. Now, when UNLV is on offense and they have the ball, the UNLV offense pretty potent in their own right. They're the 17th ranked rushing offense, 35th ranked passing offense, and 12th ranked scoring offense. The Boise State defense, they're pretty good against the pass. They're ranked 11th. Not so good against the run, ranked 86th and 55th scoring defense. Should be a lot of points scored. I think the key to the game is what can UNLV do or how they handle that rushing offense. Players to keep an eye on when UNLV has the ball. It's going to be Anthony Calandria, their quarterback. He's a dual threat guy. He is a dynamic playmaker. You got Jaden Jet Thomas at running back. He is dynamic. He is fast. Will they finally listen and give him 20 touches in a game? I feel like they're going to need to in this game. We'll see. There's no shortage of weapons in the passing game for Calandria. You got Jaden Bradley. You got Nick Elksness. You got Troy O'Meary. Last week you saw
JoJo.
That wasn't JoJo. Was it the Tayshawn Lyons?
Oh,
Tayshawn Lyons had a big game, but a lot of weapons on this UNLV offense. On the defensive side of the ball, names Amari McCoy, one of the top cornerbacks in all the G5. He's there for Boise State. Jeremiah Irby, the other corner, is very good. You got Jaden Virgin Morgan, the edge, and then Ty Benefield, the safety. Those are the kind of the names to watch on that Boise State defense. I think it's going to be a close game. I think I'm going to give the edge to UNLV because of the quarterback situation for Boise State. I think UNLV is going to be able to sell out to stop the run, and then have to put pressure on Max Cutforth to try and win the game. So give me UNLV laying the points, but I think it's going to be a really good game. Should be a close game, but I do think UNLV gets some revenge and gets the win against the Broncos this week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be UNLV. I think, when you look at the two teams, I think UNLV can pass and run, where like you said, Boise State's more one-dimensional. And we've seen this backfield, while they've have a three-headed monster, they've been known to turn the ball over. Also, Calandria, known to throw a couple interceptions.
Yeah.
He's going to have some, So I think we're going to see some turnovers in this one. Obviously, I think McCoy and Benefield are going to be huge. I expect one of them to have an interception in this one. But, call it cliche, but whoever has the least amount of turnovers probably wins this one. But I think, even if UNLV has two turnovers, they probably still have a chance to win this, even if Boise State doesn't. And I think it's just because they have the ability to score running and passing, and I just don't see that from Boise State.
Yeah, it's gonna wrap it up for tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. On X, give us a follow. And if you're listening on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We're so grateful for everyone's immense amount of support that we have received throughout the year, and we sincerely thank each and every one of you. Be sure to join us next week as we discuss what happened in the conference championship games. We'll give you our final 2025-2020 players. Look forward to the Army-Navy game, as well as kick off our bowl game previews. And as always, bring you up to date on all the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.